First off, what is this vibration stuff, huh? Like, we're supposed to raise our vibration. What is vibration? Well, think of your vibration as kind of like your emotional set point. Everything is energy. What physics shows us is that literally everything is energy, and everything is vibrating at a certain rate. Now what happens is, as things vibrate at a certain rate, it then resonates with a certain reality. So if we were to change our vibration on the inside, we then change the reality we experience on the outside. Now my whole entire life changed when I gave up 7 different things. I'm going to share with you in this video exactly what that is, how my life has completely transformed, and how you can easily raise your vibe to a new level, have unicorns come out of nowhere, and make your life extraordinarily magical. For real though, this changed your life in a powerful way. So let's go ahead and get into it. Welcome back to another video. My name's Aaron, and I help people expand their consciousness. And I'm gonna do this video with the understanding, or I'm gonna make this video with the understanding of the scale of consciousness, which maybe you've seen many times. And I'm gonna be honest with you here. I may explain some of the stories that have happened in my life before. If you've seen a lot of my videos, thank you for being such an amazing person that sees all my videos. But I'm gonna be sharing, because these are the things that help raise my vibration. Now, here's the thing with vibration. Vibration, you change your vibration, you change your life. Now, back in the day, I used to feel, if I had a scale of 1 to 10, I used to feel like I was primarily in a 3 out of 10. 3 feeling not so great. Yes, it would fluctuate just a little bit. If I felt, and I was with some friends and we were watching some show I wanted to watch, like Jersey Shore or something, I'd be like, oh my goodness, we're watching Jersey Shore and smoking hookah, this is great. And I would, instead of a 3, I'd feel like about a 5. And then something else would happen. Maybe I'd get a text from someone like, hey, this cool thing just happened. I'd be like, then I'd be at 6, okay? But then what would happen is I'd wake up the next day and I'd be back at 3. Oh. But then I went through and had what people call spiritual awakening. I gave up a lot of these things I'm going to be sharing with you. And within literally days, my natural set point went from a 3 out of 10 to about a 7 out of 10. 7 or 8 out of 10. And I literally felt high all of the time. I remember walking around my room thinking to myself, is this feeling never going to go away? And I remember thinking, I hope not. And the truth is, it never really went away. It just became my natural set point, so it wasn't as ecstatic and crazy. It just became kind of like, I became used to it. However, it still fluctuates. I mean, still, the other day I had like I was getting a little bit more triggered with something that was happening, and it brought me from probably about a 7 down to a 5. Didn't feel so good. But even at 5 was probably higher than back in the day it would have been if at that 3. So that's what this video is going to show you to do, is how to let go of things so that you raise your vibrational set point so that's a higher level. Now, first off, this scale of consciousness right here, you've got fear, anger, neutrality, willingness, eventually, which is like willpower, reasoning, the intellectualness of the mind, and love, joy, peace, and enlightenment. Now, with this scale, the key to moving up it is simply letting go. So when I say 5 things I gave up, it's literally as you give up these things, your vibration begins to increase, because remember, your vibration is naturally high. It's naturally high. You don't have to climb the vibrational ladder trying to get to the top and then say, look everyone, I'm at the... No, your natural vibe is high. All you got to do is let go of that which is not you, the false beliefs, all these things, and then you will naturally be in that high vibe of who you naturally are. Now, the first thing that I got rid of that changed my life is, let me take you back in time, all right? I worked at a place called Nordstrom's and Women's Shoes. I know I've said this before. Don't get mad at it, don't hit me. I used to work at a place, Nordstrom's and Women's Shoes. I worked there for years. And where I was at the time is I was feeling a lot of resistance. One, I was resistant because of my painful past, of my having my ex out in my life from 7 to 15 years old, didn't have much of a childhood, didn't have much freedom. So here I am at like 21 years old, or 20, I was like 18, or I was like 20 years old, 21 years old, selling women's shoes. And what I was doing is, I wasn't really passionate about selling women's shoes, but I did it. I had what is called ADHD. So it was hard for me to focus. I had a lot of energy. So what I would do is I take Adderall, which is a prescription drug they give to people that have ADHD. That has very harsh side effects. Like you can't eat very much, you can't sleep very much. So what I did is I would take Adderall during the day, and I would have those harsh side effects at night. and I was feeling very, like I said, unworthy. I had a manager that was almost the same personality as my ex-stepmom. And I felt like there was just something wrong with me with having the ADHD, not being able to focus. Then eventually I was like, man, these side effects are kind of harsh. So what I did is I then came to learn, and I found out about meditation online, read about it. I was like, you know what, I'm going to be open-minded to this thing. What if this is real and this really has no negative side effects? I started meditating, and within weeks, my whole entire life began to transform. But the first couple days, not much happened because I was trying to control my mind. But what happened is I learned how to observe my thoughts. I learned how to stare at a candle flame, and by staring at a candle flame, I was able to calm my mind. And as I began to do that in that witness mode, I then became aware of all the false belief patterns that were also controlling my life. I became aware that the reason I took Adderall is because I believed I had ADHD, and I believed I had ADHD because someone told me that I did. And then what I did is I started to reframe it. I started to question these beliefs. I started to question the beliefs that said that you're not worthy. And I started looking at my past with my ex-stepmom, and I realized that that led me to a spiritual awakening. So it was actually a very positive, good thing. So as I began to reframe the past, reframe the meaning of these things, let go of the labels, let go of Adderall, and begin to meditate, and I let that label go, I started to become free. And I started to feel completely different about my life. So the first thing that I let go of that raised my vibration almost instantly was taking Adderall, the belief that I had ADHD, and the labels that were limiting me. I realized that these things were self-fulfilling prophecies. I believed I had them, and therefore that was my reality. As I began to observe my thoughts, I could then question these, and that changed everything. So within a couple of weeks, that was when I got to the point where I was walking around my room wondering, I hope is this feeling ever going to go away? And of course, like I said, it still fluctuates, but it's become my natural base point now. I believe being high all of the time is your natural set point as well. You just got to let go of the things that don't serve. So that was the first thing I let go of. The second thing I let go of was alcohol and cannabis. Now I know some people listening to this may think or assume I'm not talking bad about cannabis at all. The way that I was using it is I was using it to numb a lot of the pain of my past. And I was also using it because guess what the side effects of Adderall are? You don't eat very much, you don't sleep very much. Guess what the side effects of cannabis are? You gonna eat good, you gonna sleep good. So I would do that Adderall during the day, and I would smoke cannabis at night. And I would also drink. Not a lot, but I would drink quite often, you know, like a couple times a week normally. Friends come over. And what I realized is that once I went through my awakening, I started to meditate and observe these things about myself, and I started to feel high all the time. I would then do these things that would actually bring my vibration down. But part of me felt like I still wanted to do it because I still wanted to relate to my friends and the people that I've been hanging around for so much. So what I had to learn to do was, I remember that actually when I decided, alcohol was much easier for me to let go of. It was the cannabis that was a little bit harder. I went off and on, like, I was gonna quit, then I didn't, then I was gonna get it, then I didn't. And then one day I went to my friend, I had friends that have a smoke shop here in Vegas, and I went and I got this big piece, this big glass piece, and I brought it home, and I simply knew, I went to take a hit out of it, first hit out of it I ever took, and that was also the last hit I ever took out of it. And then when I breathed it in, I immediately knew that that was my last hit I was gonna take. I just knew it felt right for me to stop, and I immediately started bawling, crying. It doesn't have to be like that for everybody, but I felt literally an emotional connection to cannabis. And what happened is when I was realizing I was gonna let it go, it felt like I was breaking up with someone. Now also at the same time, I was feeling and having kind of like a clearing of how I made everyone else feel while I was on it. Not that I was that bad, but I would smoke it and then go to my dad's house, hang out with my sisters, and I felt kind of guilty about that. And then also what I would do is I would, I'd have to hide it from one of my ex-girlfriends because she didn't like it. And we used to always argue because she liked to drink, I liked to smoke, and it'd be like, I'd be like, why is this okay and this not okay? And it would cause like headbutting. But what eventually I realized is I could literally feel how she felt in that. It was the most bizarre, mystical experience of my life, but when I let that go, I simply knew that it was worth it. And within weeks, it took me a couple weeks for me to adjust back to normal reality because I was doing it almost every day. Yeah, I was doing it every day. And then after I stopped doing it, it literally raised my vibration. I think on this scale, now the scale isn't an end-all be-all, but the scale of consciousness, cannabis resonates at about 350, weed resonates about 275. The scale goes from 0 to 1,000. love is 500, reasoning is 400. Your natural vibration is way higher than that. So once you go through the awake, you start to realize these things, you start to observe your thoughts and meditate, it's going to raise you up. And then when you do these things, it might feel comfortable because you're used to it, but it may actually bring you down. And that's what happened to me. I'd start to not feel nearly as good as I would just naturally. So that's kind of why I mentioned that as well. I think your natural vibration is to be high almost all the time. Now the third thing I let go of was people pleasing. I found that a lot of my life, because I went through a harsh childhood between 7 and 15 years old and had a strict, very masculine, almost army sergeant-like ex-stepmom, that kind of primed me, and because I had to please and always make her happy and always do the right things and nothing I ever did was good enough, that then caused me to kind of have that mentality in life. I was trying to do things so that people would like me. So I would like do things friends wanted to do. I would do things maybe I didn't feel like doing. I even had a sales commission job where I was serving people. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it wasn't really my passion to be as much of a people pleaser as I was. I was going to school just because my dad wanted me to go to school. I was doing these people pleasing things, and I realized that it was lowering my vibe. And the more I was trying to be according to the way they wanted to be me, the more that I felt restricted. So people pleasing was another thing that once I let go of changed my whole life. I also had to become aware of how to not care really what people thought, because I was going through a spiritual awakening. My life was starting to change a lot. I literally went from this guy that was like partying a lot, that had so much energy, that was more, to all of a sudden being more grounded, not wanting to like go out and party, wanting to like meditate. And then people thought a lot of things, they made a lot of judgments about me. People I knew for my whole life, and even some family members, thought I was doing something, drugs or something. And the funny thing was I stopped doing everything. But yet people thought that. Now, something else that I'm going to be doing, if you're seeing this video right now, this is 7 things I gave to raise my vibration almost instantly. I have a 21-day raise your vibration challenge where I take you through 21 days and literally show you how to let go of all these things, how to let go of so much that doesn't serve you, how to raise your vibrational set point so that your life is transformed in 21 days, which is 3 weeks. That's how long they say it takes for a habit to really wire itself in. And I show you my meditation process, how to change your self-image, how to become aware of shadow work. All of these things are in the Raise Your Vibration 21-day challenge. You'll see it in the link below. Check it out. You will see it there. You can also go to aarondoughty.com/challenge. And you will see that there. Join me on the 21-day Raise Your Vibration Challenge, and let's do this together. I want to help you do it. So if that's something you're interested in, you'll see that in the link below. The fourth thing I let go of is being what's called a nice guy. Now, my dad is like the masculine role model in my life. You know, we tend to model our parents. Also, one more thing I want to say about people pleasing. People pleasing normally stems from parent pleasing. So who did you have to be to receive love growing up? I had to be perfect. I had to stay in line. I had to do all these things. And therefore, that was why I then started to be a people pleaser in real life. So once I let that go, and the way I let it go is by becoming aware of it, and then thinking to myself, what do I want to do? And wiring that in more and more until it became natural. Now, being a nice guy is kind of related to being a people pleaser. But being a nice guy is also a shadow aspect. It's something that people do because they don't want people to judge them or to think that they're blunt or mean or their true desires won't come out. A nice guy also starts to minimize the polarity in masculinity. So this can also work for females as well, or the feminine energy as well in certain ways, because you don't want to be kind of the people pleaser. But as far as a nice guy goes, I realized that my dad was such a nice guy and still is such a nice guy, but I realized that that's what I kind of learned growing up. But I realized very shortly in life that that's not really who I am. That I am a very I guess you could say the masculine energy needs to be very focused and very much on their purpose and the star of their own movie. Now, a nice guy isn't the star of their own movie. They're normally trying to please someone else. They're in the other person's frame rather than the cameo in someone else's movie. The thing I had to learn is how to be polarizing, and that's okay. I'm a very blunt person naturally. Kind of just say what's on my mind. Some people are kind of shocked at some of the things I say sometimes when I'm in public or around other people, because sometimes I don't have a filter. But the people pleasing to the nice guy was the part of me that was like afraid to say those things. That was trying to kind of like put myself in a box that didn't feel natural. Once I started expressing myself, once I started doing what I wanted to do, once I kind of was embracing that side of myself, my whole entire life changed and my vibration definitely raised. I gained my power back and I was more unapologetic in who I am. And the thing with masculine feminine polarity, especially as a masculine energy, is if you're listed as a masculine energy, you want that polarity. You want that polarity because that's what makes and helps you feel that purposeful and that vision that you have that you're moving towards, so that then the feminine energy can relax in that frame. I also have videos on this masculine feminine polarity. I'll go ahead and link it below as well. It's a newer video that came out. I think that'll really resonate with you if that's what you're interested in. The fifth thing I had to let go of was the story I was telling myself about why I was stuck, the story I told myself about why I had to have a 9-to-5 job that I didn't enjoy, and as I let go of that story, everything began to change. Now let me ask you this question. What if the whole problem you think you have, the whole label you have of being stuck, of not being where you want to be, of trying to change what's happening, what if the only problem was that you believed there was a problem? You see, that's when things really began to change for me. I realized that I believe I'm stuck, therefore I'm stuck. And another thing I did is I just started to embody that future version of me now. So, for example, when I was working that 9-to-5 job, I imagined the version of me that was making full-time YouTube videos, and I decided that's who I am now. And I started making daily videos, and then eventually that became my dominant reality. Remember, if you want to make something your full-time, treat it as your full-time vibrationally, and it will become your full-time. When I started going to my passion, my whole entire life began to change. So that was a key thing for me too, letting go of the story that I have to work this 9-to-5 job, the story that I always attract these kind of people in my life, the story that I have to be a nice guy. Those are all just stories. And the more I became aware of that, is the more that then I could be free. Now the sixth thing is I had to let go of the idea of hard work. Now, for a period of time that served me in my life. For about 2 or 3 years, I was making videos every single day. I still make a lot of videos, but what I realized is I developed this kind of edginess. And I was always trying to escape the moment to get to the future. Oh, getting 100,000 followers was cool, but what about 200,000? Getting 300,000 is cool, what about 400? And now we're at like 900-something thousand. And it's like, what about 1 million? Then once it'll get there, the mind will always extend it even more. But what I realized is believing everything had to be hard work to be successful is actually limiting me. A huge game changer for me was when I let go. I started letting go. I still was taking action, doing what I'm passionate about, but I was letting go of the outcome. So it's also about letting go of the hard work of trying to control the outcome, being attached to the outcome. When I let that go, I allowed the universe to then have things happen for me. Everything began to change. So the key to that is realizing that hard work can get you to a certain place. Maybe what you need to hear right now is to work harder, or not necessarily harder, but put more action in. That was something I definitely needed to hear years ago. But then there's another level to where you start to enjoy life more. You start to focus on your vibration. How do you feel when you do it? That changed everything for me. And that's why it leads me to 7, which is seriousness. That spiritual ego of the seriousness also of working hard, of success, of trying to get somewhere else, was causing me to be in that state where it's like I wasn't enjoying life as much. But one of the best ways to raise your vibration is to lighten up. To lighten up and have more fun, to joke around. Also, we develop a spiritual ego when we sometimes move into spirituality. People don't understand me, so I'm like, you don't understand me, you don't get it, then you're just asleep. You're blue pill. I took the red pill. Okay, you took blue, I took red. That's not really how it goes. The key to this is not developing that spiritual ego and realizing everyone's on their own path. Okay, maybe you took the red pill, but don't judge other people for the pill they took. Okay? Plus, we're moving out of the age of pharmaceuticals anyway. So, but spiritual ego is you just being aware that sometimes when you let go of one ego, the other ego goes through the back door. So just be aware of it, then let it go, and then have more fun. What is one thing you gave up to raise your vibration? Let me know. Smash the like button, and let me know if you like this video, and maybe I'll do more, and I'll stop that people-pleasing mentality of liking the video. And also, one more thing. If you want to join that 21-day Raise Your Vibration Challenge, click below. I'd love to help you raise your vibe. As always, peace, much love, and namaste.